Hey guys, welcome to, and for some of you, welcome back to the Boley Ranch. You may notice some new developments, some little buildings and structures going into place, and you're probably asking yourself, where do these buildings come from? Why are they here? Who built them? Some of the buildings we actually built ourselves, and others we recently rescued and brought to the property. And the original design of some of these buildings came from an amusement park that was here in San Jose. It was called Frontier Village. It closed down in 1980, and it was located in South San Jose down Monterey Road. I have a short video that I'd like to show you that basically kind of highlights Frontier Village and what it was all about, and just to give you an idea of the thought behind the structure and design of some of these buildings. It was Western themed, which kind of goes along with what we started doing here. So I'm going to show you this short video, and we'll see you in a minute.
So what was so special about this here place? Well, let's mosey back in time to Frontier Village on the very last day.
They're filming this one. Yeah, I know exactly. Marley!
Can you smile to Daddy?
All right, guys. Now that you've had a chance to see the original park, and basically where the idea for these little buildings came from, you're probably wondering, well, these aren't really the buildings that came from that park, are they? The short answer to that is no. We do have a piece of the original park that we're restoring, but the replica buildings were built by a man named Shaughnessy. He lived out in Campbell, and he's a long-term resident. He was like the biggest fan of Frontier Village, and once they closed the park, he wanted to relive Frontier Village. So he made his own small version in his backyard over the span of about 20 years. And to get a better idea of exactly what he had in place and what he built, let's go ahead and take a look now and see what he did.
Welcome to my version of Frontier Village. What's left of it. Come on in. Listen very closely, you can hear the train. So here I've built my own Main Street, and I've got a replica of the last National Bank and then the Silver Dollar Saloon, which I put a bunch of little things in there from Frontier Village. You can't have a western town without a saloon. One of the times when I had it open for Halloween, my son had come to me and he said, "Hey Dad, there are 4 women in the saloon and they're all crying." And I thought, well, it's not that big. So I went over there, and they were all facing inside. I went in, and I stood there for a few minutes, and sure enough, I could hear them kind of, weeping a little bit. So I said, "Hello." They all turned around, and tears are running down their faces. They said, "We just love Frontier Village." So I started crying, too. So I've got a few names in here. I got a sign up here about Cleo Hanna looking for saloon girls. I got another sign down here of my friend Pat Hanna. I got a few things here. This piano, this upright piano, is just sort of to replicate the one that they had. Debbie Weitzel used to play and entertain people for, for quite a while. And so I've gone ahead and put that in there just to remember her and the Weitzel family. But anyway, I got a lot of artifacts, cups and different things like that people have gone ahead and said, "Hey, I want this to be part of it." And so they've gone ahead and give me these things. And I'm able to go ahead and put them in here and share it whenever somebody comes by. So now I'm sharing it with you. So this is a replica of the pillory that I made that they had at Frontier Village. A lot of people call it the stocks. I don't know how many tens of thousands of people had their picture taken with this thing, but since I built it, everybody wants to stick their head through there, put their hands in, and get their pictures taken with it, and I always encourage that. So I'm going to go over here to the trading post and the general store. So these two, I went ahead and built with a bunch of pictures to make it look like the ones that were there. I haven't painted them yet. But I've got a bunch of things in there that people have given me, and one of them, there's a holster that one of the gunfighters, Neil Falstead, gave to me that he used to use when he was a gunfighter at Frontier Village. And it's interesting how stuff like that keeps finding me, but I just really love it that I can go ahead and point that out for people to say, this is actually something that was used there. And in fact, Neil comes by and visits it every once in a while. And there it is. Genuine gunfighter gun belt from Frontier Village. Alright, so this is the Opera House that they had at Frontier Village. Now it does say Happy Hollow on it. Happy Hollow had bought this at the auction when Frontier Village closed, and they set it up there. They had it from 1980 until 2006 when they auctioned a bunch of things off. But this has another meaning to a whole group of people that grew up with this thing with it at Happy Hollow. So there's another whole generation of young people that remember a piece of Frontier Village without even realizing it was part of Frontier Village, even though it was there all those years at Happy Hollow. I got this from a fellow that had it at a pumpkin patch, and then he was going to go ahead and close down his pumpkin patch and asked me if I wanted it. So I went ahead and brought it home. Of course I wanted it. So this is Crazy Horse that they had out toward the front of the park. Now, I got this from Ed Hutton as well. And the funny thing is the number of people that'll get on this thing and get their picture taken with it as well. In fact, the people taking pictures of them say, okay, now it's my turn. It's my turn. I want to get on the horse. Can I get my picture taken with the horse? You know, it's just funny to see, you know, all of these adults that are like in their 50s and 60s trying to get, you know, in line with little kids to get on the horse. Just one of the things that I have a tendency to bring to the picnic that we have, you know, the last Saturday in June every year. But anyway, it's something, if you come to one of the picnics, maybe you can go ahead and get your picture taken with them as well. So here we have a replica of the old schoolhouse. And obviously it's a little bit smaller than the one that they had, but I've gone ahead and put this, you know, together, and I've tried to replicate some of the things with these lanterns and whatnot in here. I've got a bunch of signs that have kind of migrated here as well. I got a picture of me and Joe Zukin, the founder of Frontier Village, and this is another place that people like to spend quite a bit of time. They'll come in here and just hang out. Last year we had a gal that she was actually trying to act like she was teaching a school lesson before she handed out candy at Halloween. But anyway, I know my kids love to spend a lot of time out here. They've done a lot of studying, even in college, so kind of a quiet place to come to and just get a really serene feeling. These are the antique autos that they had at Frontier Village. Happy Hollow had bought this ride, and they had them stored for 27 years. And I was able to purchase one of them, but they said they couldn't buy any more. 5 years later, I was able to go ahead and buy these other cars that I have here. And I just can't believe that I've actually ended up with them. It's like a boyhood dream come true that I got, you know, something from Frontier Village, but it was my favorite ride in the whole world. And they weren't that far away from me when they sold them. And now I've got them here. I've got them housed so that people can enjoy them. People come out at Halloween and get their picture taken with them. You know, some people get really emotional coming by and getting to see these things. It's just incredible to me. Sometimes I have to kind of pinch myself when I come out here and see them, because it's like I actually got them after waiting 5 years, especially for this yellow car. They put us on the front page of the Mercury News, which really surprised me. But that was back in 2006, and it's just wonderful for me. So the whole reason for doing this is it's about people. People that love Frontier Village, people that can go back and have the heartfelt feelings that I had when I was going to Frontier Village. You know, it was a different time. You know, my dad was still alive. He loved it as well. It just, it really tugs at my heartstrings that they closed it. And now that I've been able to replicate a bunch of it and then bring a bunch of it here, the biggest thing is I want to share it with people. And it's interesting, the people that come by and see this, like at Halloween and whatever else, it really tugs at their heartstrings. Or people that never even saw it. They're just blown away that there's something like this that exists in somebody's backyard, which is really kind of weird. But I had a guy just this last Halloween, he's lived next to me, 10 houses away for like 20 years. He came by and he says, you know what, I wondered where all the kids were going. I only got 3. And they're all coming down here. I wanted to see what it was. He said, I had no idea this was down here. And he said, I used to go to Frontier Village. I used to see you put the sign out there, but I never knew what it was. He says, I'm so glad I came. He says, I'm bringing my family next year. I've had some people come by, even grown men, stand out there that used to work at Frontier Village. And those guys, you know, they're standing there just going, oh my goodness, you got the music playing. I remember running the Ferris wheel. I remember doing the canoes or whatever else. And a couple of them, honestly, I've looked up at them. You can see it. Tears are actually coming out of their eyes. That's when I know I've accomplished what it is I've set out to do, is to really tug at people's heartstrings the way it tugs at mine. You know, it was a different time. It was a different place. I don't know if you can ever replicate it, even if you tried to build it again today. But anyway, I really feel inside that I've been able to help a lot of people, bring back good memories, and just, I don't know, it just really tugs at my heartstrings that it's here at my house. I've been able to raise my kids with it, and they're having the memories as well. Thanks for joining me.
So we've seen the original park, we've seen the replica park, and we see the construction going on here. So how did this all come about? Well, last year, Shaughnessy and his family decided that they were going to move after his retirement up to Oregon. And long story short, my dad, being the Craigslist aholic and collector finder of all great things, reached out to me and told me that Shaughnessy was looking for someone to rescue the buildings because the contractor buying his property was going to bulldoze everything. And since it went along with the theme that we had going on here already, we felt it would be a good idea to reach out and see if we can acquire the buildings that he had so that they wouldn't get bulldozed, and we can add them to our theme here we're already working on. So made a couple of efforts, finally got a hold of him, and he told us to come on over. Many people already had gone to look at what he had built, but nobody really knew how to get all of these structures and buildings out of his backyard in Campbell. So I went ahead and conjured up as much energy as I could. No, I just kidding. I actually recruited one of the finest teams I could find, aka my friends, anybody who would volunteer, and we headed on over there. It took us a lot of work, a lot of time, and it was right after Christmas time. So everybody who pitched in, I truly appreciate it. It wasn't easy. It took us many trips, but I have quite a few people that I'd like to take an opportunity to thank with this video. So for all of you that helped me out, I really appreciate it, and I'd like to individually thank each one of you now and share some photos of that long, grueling process of getting the buildings from Campbell onto trailers and into the backyard. Obviously, we're not done setting everything up yet, but the hardest part of loading and transporting is completed. So let's take a look now at some photos and thank some people. So there you have it. The original design, placement of the real deal buildings, the remade miniature Frontier Village, and the grueling process of saving miniature Frontier Village and bringing it here to the ranch. It's still a work in progress. I look forward to all the expansion still yet to be done, and I really appreciate everyone who has offered help, everyone who has helped, and everyone who has come to enjoy our vision and what we've done here. So thanks for coming. I hope you guys have a good time, and look forward to future projects and expansions. Thanks.